Welcome, everybody, to this somewhat very autumnal, practically winter version over here in the UK of the Cambridge Power Platform user group. For our November session, we've got a fantastic lineup, and it's always nice to see that all the speakers have already checked in. So we know they're here, and it's going to be really great. So let me jump straight into what it is that we're going to be talking about today. On the agenda. So introduction by me. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Hopefully you all know me by now. So hi, I'm Sharon Sumner. I'm the leader of the Cambridge Power Platform user group. I'm a Microsoft Business Applications MVP who never says no to a coffee, virtual or otherwise, or something a little stronger if it's of an evening. So do ping me if you want to chat through anything Power Platform, or if you'd like to be a speaker on the user group. We're always looking for new talent to come along and share their information and their stories with us. And on that note, we have May, who's never spoken at our user group before, joining us today, or Agent 008, as we probably should call her. But I'm going to let May introduce herself when it comes to her session. So we'll be looking at Power Apps, Power Automate, adaptive cards in Teams, lots of good content coming. Followed by the absolutely amazing Reza Durrani, session not to be missed on Power Apps delegation. And followed by, again, a first, Daniel Christian, who's going to be talking with us for the first time, but I've seen him many, many times. I've been following him for quite a while. So really delighted that Daniel's joining us to talk about deep integration with SharePoint, because who doesn't need to know about that, right? So without further ado, let's just get started straight into the content, and I will hand you over to the awesome May. Let me just put up a slide in case you've missed May over the last 12 months, which is absolutely impossible because she's had a brilliant year, from becoming an MVP to lots and lots of success at work. You know, couldn't be more proud of her as a fellow advocate of the Power Platform. So I'm just going to hand you straight over. May, lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Do you want to take over and share your screen and tell us your story?
Okay, sure. Let me start sharing my screen. Please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yep, we've got it.
Okay, cool. So first of all, thank you so much for having me today. I'm super happy to be here today and to share my knowledge for the first time within this amazing meetup. So before we start, let me introduce myself in case if you don't know me. My name is May Alhajri. I'm from Saudi Arabia, Middle East, and I have been graduated with computer engineering bachelor degree. Also, I started my journey within the amazing community as a Power Addict, and now I become as a first Saudi female with the MVP award from Microsoft. Also, I have 5 years experience within oil and gas industry, and my current position, digital analyst within a Schlumberger company. So today, actually, what I really would like to share with you, it's like I'm gonna go through some real business case that we have it internally within our company, and I'm gonna show you how we can integrate different products together. So we will talk about something we call it Ask Me Anything application. So we will go through what's Ask Me Anything application, also what's adaptive cards, in case if you don't know what's adaptive cards, because it's the main things that we will have it within this project. Also, we will do a live demo, and if you have any question, stop me at any time. So let's start with the first one. What's AMA? Ask Me Anything application. So let me give you a quick intro about it, or the idea behind Ask Me Anything application. Let's see, like you are having within your organization a lot of webcasts, and every time the employees or the end user, they keep asking a lot of questions, maybe during the session, or they have a lot of questions to ask you maybe after the webcast. So we thought about it's really a good idea to have a one platform or one application that will help the user to go there and submit their questions, and the expert person will be able to answer the end user at any time and in easiest way. So they don't need to send their question every time within the webcast or through a specific email, or they post it every time on Yammer. So we need to put one place to get their questions and also to answer them. So with AMA application, Ask Me Anything application, the end user will be able to submit their questions in easiest way. Also, the person that who will respond to them, they will be able to respond to them in easiest way by using adaptive cards. So I'm going to show you how we can build this amazing application and how the process will look like. And also, for sure, while we are sending the question and send the answer to the user, we need to send a lot of notification, and we will use a different tools to make this happen. So what kind of tools actually that I'm using within Ask Me Anything? I'm using Power Automate and Power Apps, and also I'm using a SharePoint to store our data. The Teams, we are using Microsoft Teams actually to send the adaptive cards. The adaptive cards actually we will have the questions, and we will let the user to answer the question within the adaptive cards. We will do a live demo. I'm gonna show you how it will look like and how we can build it in easiest way. So before we start by showing you a live demo, let me give you a quick intro about adaptive card. So if you don't know what's the meaning of adaptive cards, actually adaptive cards is an open card that exchange format, enabling developers and to exchange the user interface content in a common way. And while we are doing a live demo, you will be able to see how we can design adaptive cards. Is there any way that will help us to do or to design the adaptive cards, even if you don't have any experience before? So you can do it in easiest way. So adaptive cards actually are the way to show and interact with the data in a clear way. And we will show you there is a website we call it Adaptive Cards Designer that will help you to design your cards even if you don't have any IT knowledge or coding knowledge. So now it's the time to look at the application and how the process will look like. And I'm going to show you each part of our process, like how we're going to build the application, what kind of SharePoint list we have, what kind of a flow that we are running. It's something really easy. Especially if you are a beginner and you want to automate your task, you can use the same scenario within your organization. It doesn't mean that you need to have a webcast to get a question from the user, right? Maybe you can use the same scenario with different business case. So let me open now the application, just a minute, and let me add, here we go. What I will do now, I'm gonna run the application. I will show you the whole process as an end user and as a SME or the person who will respond to the user, and I will show you how it will look like. Then we will go through Power Apps, Power Automate, and I'm going to show you how the application will look like and all this stuff. So let me first act as an end user. So as an end user, I'm going to go to the application by using Power Apps. I will go there and click on Ask a Question. And from there, what we are doing here actually, I'm looking to a specific category. So maybe you can divide it by department based on your organization. Maybe if you want to have this application within your organization or your department, but for different topics, you can put a category. So at the end, it depends on the business case that you are working on it. So I'm going to choose IT, and let me add test here. Just a minute. And here, the end user will be able to add their question, test question. Then, as simple as they will click on Submit My Question. The application look like very simple. There is nothing magical here, or it's something really easy. But the main idea behind this, how we can communicate and how we can integrate different tools together. So once they submit their question, we have a specific teams within Microsoft Teams, and you can divide it by, maybe you can divide it by category. Like if you have IT, HR, or whatever you are having, you can divide it, or you can add it to a specific channel. So let me open now my team, just a minute. And now we're supposed to receive here adaptive cards. Just a minute, let me open it again. So let me check if the flow is running, and I'm gonna explain to you later on if our flow is running or not, but let me check. Here we go. Okay, it's running, cool. So let me go now to our teams. Here we go. So now I received adaptive card as for the specific teams. I add it under this team, and now the person who was supposed to answer the question, he need to fill it here. So we are receiving here adaptive cards with the name of the application, the person who created the question, the topic, category, question, and the answer supposed to add it here. So let me add the answer here, test, and submit. And once we submit the answer, the end user is supposed to receive an email actually with their question and the answer. Let me now try to show you the example on how we can receive the email. And then I'm going to explain to you how we can build all this stuff. So let me now open the email to show you if we received anything. Just a minute, or show you at least an example. Here we go. So the end user is supposed to receive this email actually, like the IT team, or based on the category that you are having, with their question and the answer, and if you want to add any other link. So how we are doing all this stuff, how we are sending an email, how we are sending the adaptive cards, how did I design the adaptive cards. So now I'm gonna show you how I build all this stuff. So let me go back to our application. Here we go. So for the first step, what we need to do actually, we need to build our user interface. We need to think about what kind of thing that I would like to add it to the user. So here what I did, basically, I built an easiest application, something really easy. We have 3 main pages. We have the main page, and within the main page, actually, I have like a logo, I have a label, I have a button to navigate to another page. And the main thing within our application, actually, this part, second page, which is ask a question. And here we have the simple form, and our form actually connected to our data source, which is, in our scenario here, we are using a SharePoint. Maybe if you want to use another data source, it's fine, but I'm using here a SharePoint list. So let me show you how the SharePoint list look like. Maybe you can use a Dataverse if you want, but let me show you. Here we go. It's a simple SharePoint list. We have category column as a multiple choices, and we have a topic as a text. We have a question also as a text, and I have a column here, answer. And actually, when the user filled the form within the application, we have only 3 main columns: category, topic, and the question. But why do I need to add a column here, which is answer? Because while I'm sending the adaptive cards to our teams, we need to store the answer, so we can send the answer to the end user by email, or maybe we're going to send it within the teams. So that's the idea behind saving the answer within our SharePoint list. And in the future, actually, within our organization, we are having a dashboard that we can track how many questions do we have for a specific department and how many person they are answering the question. So if you have like a huge organization and you want to track like how many questions you are receiving per day, you can build a dashboard by using Power BI. So now we build our applications, something really simple, just a form connected to a SharePoint list with a few columns, the main column. And now let me show you how we can build our adaptive cards. As we know, maybe you don't have any idea about adaptive cards or how to design any adaptive cards. We have something we call it here, Adaptive Card Designer. Let me share the link with you. So in case if you want to go through it and check how it will look like. So I'm going to share all the link about the design and all this stuff. So I'm going to add this one within the chat. Feel free to go through it and check. So Adaptive Card Designer actually, as I mentioned, will help you to build your own card. So if you want to build any adaptive cards or to design any adaptive cards, you can go to this site. You can actually build from a different templates. We have a lot of templates there. You can select anyone that you really like and you can customize it. So for example, if I wanted to choose this one, I can choose it and I can build and I can customize it and remove, add. You can do whatever you want. So it doesn't mean that if I select this template, so I need to follow the same structure of the template. You can change whatever you want. And this is actually what I did for the first time. This Ask Me Anything application was the first application that I built it with this, and we built something related to adaptive cards and we sent it to teams. So it was the first task for me assigned to use adaptive cards. Before, I didn't have any knowledge about how we can use adaptive cards. So for me, what I did basically, I choose a template, and from there, I learned from the template how I can customize it. What do we mean by this one? What do we mean by this one? So to build any adaptive cards, actually, you need to start with the template. Similar thing with the Power Apps. If you are a beginner, I really suggest for you to start with the template, because when you start with any template, you will learn a lot of things. So if you want to build or to design any adaptive cards, you have a different options. Either you can start from a blank and you can add your own code, or you can add the code here and check how it will look like, or you can choose any template and customize it. So for example, for me, I already have the code. I already write it before. As I mentioned, for me as a beginner, I start with this template actually, and I customize it. So what you need to do, you just need to select whatever you feel comfortable with and design your card. So for example here, whatever you are adding here, so as I mentioned, if you want to start from a blank, don't worry, we have something here, we call it card elements. And from there, for example, if I want to add image, so here we go. You just need to take the elements here and add it here. This area, this section, actually, it's the card that the end user will be able to see it. And from here, you will be able to select the elements that you want to add it to your adaptive cards. And from here, the code, this is the main code that you need to work on it or copy it and paste it on Power Automate to send it to maybe Outlook, to Microsoft Teams. So don't worry about here the code that we have it. If you don't have any idea on how you can write it by yourself, you just need to use the elements that we have it. For example, if I remove this one, by default will be removed from the code. If I add any new things, for example, here, I would like to add the text input. By default, you will be able to see it within the code. So don't worry about it. But you need to read more, or you need to understand more about all these elements. Like, what do we mean by action set? What do we mean by media? We know the media, but how can I use it? What do we mean by, like, for example, here, the answer? How can I get the answer from the user? What do I need to do? All this stuff, actually, you need to worry about it while you are adding your code to Power Automate. And I'm going to show you now, like, the final step, or where do we need to add our adaptive cards. Within our scenario today, it's like we have an application. We want the user to go through it, submit the request. Once they click on submit, we want to send the adaptive cards to Teams, right? Adaptive Cards Designer will help you to design your cards, but will not help you to send your cards to Teams or to Outlook. So how can we do this? For sure, by using Power Automate. So Power Automate, it's like the main point to like send the adaptive cards to Teams. Maybe you want to send it to Outlook. So adaptive cards, it doesn't mean that every time I need to add it to my Teams. You can send it to Outlook, or maybe if you want to do a Windows notification. So all this stuff, you can do it with adaptive cards. And one more thing that I would like to highlight here before we jump to Power Automate. For example, in our scenario today, we are using Microsoft Teams to send our adaptive cards. So you can select the host application, because you want to the frame or the way of the adaptive cards to look like the same, the host of application that you will add it there, right? For example, here, if you're gonna use like Microsoft Teams, make sure to select Microsoft Teams. If you're gonna use like maybe Outlook message, you need to select Outlook message. So you can see how it will look like while you are sending to the Outlook. So from here, you will be able to change the application that you will send to with the adaptive cards. Okay, so now let's assume that the adaptive cards, you already design it and everything seems okay. What do we need to do? You need to copy the code that you have it here, which is within this section, and you need to go now to Power Automate. So let me open now my Power Automate and show you how my flow is look like. Something really easy, and how it will look like. Let me open it now. This is our form actually. And let me go to edit to show you how I built it. So what what we are looking here, actually, I'm looking for like when the user is submitting their questions. It means like when the user or when the data is already created within my data source. In our scenario, we have like a SharePoint, right? So just a minute. I'm not sure, actually today I'm facing a lot of issues with the Power Automate, with the connection. I'm not sure why, but let me add my email again. I'm not sure if anyone are facing the same issue, but let me show you now. So the first step, what we need to do, we will add something or a trigger, we call it when an item is created. And we need to select our SharePoint site and the list name. So for example, here, I have, this is my SharePoint, and this is my SharePoint list. We need to add it here by, and we know Power Automate, there is a powerful thing that you don't need to copy and paste. You can just select here and select the site that you are looking for. Then when the item is created, what you need to think about here, if you have a different categories, like if your application for IT, HR, digital department, you need to have a different conditions, right? Like if it's for the IT, go and send it to XYZ. If for the HR, send the question to someone else to answer the question. You can be creative on how you want to send your adaptive cards. But if you have like two conditions or you don't have any category, you can use like only one condition, or you can just directly send the question to the teams. So here, what I really want to show you, like what if I have a different condition? So for example, here, what I added here, I added a condition, like a check if the category is equal, for example, to IT. Do this action. If not, maybe I have two conditions, do another action, or you can add if it's equal to HR, do the same action, but send it to someone else. Maybe you want to send your adaptive cards to different channel, right? So if you want to send your adaptive cards to different channels, you can add the same condition, but for different times. Or there is a better way to do it, like by choosing apply to all and check the condition, and from there you can add the condition. But let me show you the easiest way today. So first, we are adding when an item is created, a check if the category is equal to IT. I would like to send my adaptive cards. Let me check the connection here. I would like to send my adaptive cards to a specific teams. So there is something within Power Automate, actually, we call it post and adaptive cards. So I'm going to show it to you how it will look like. And let me update this connection. Sorry for that. And then I'm going to show you the example. So once you select post adaptive cards, you will be able to select the teams, the channel, and you will be able to add the link or to add the code for your adaptive cards. So now this one, it's working. Okay, here we go. Seems something here. Okay, cool. It's working now, finally. Okay. So once you select post adaptive cards, you will be able to see this one, like post as. You have an options, like if you want to post it as a Power Virtual Agent or as a Flowbot, so it's up to you. And where do you want to post it? Where do you want to add your adaptive cards? We know it's within the teams for sure, but is it under a channel, maybe chat with the Flow, or a group chat? So here in our scenario, we're gonna post our adaptive cards to within our channel, and the code that we copied from the adaptive card designer, you need to add it here actually. So whatever you copied from, whatever you are copying from your adaptive cards designer, you need to add it actually within this area under message. So under message here, the code that you copied, you need to add it here. But what you really need to do a few things. We know that, let me open the adaptive cards here and show you something. Let me copy. Here we go. So for example, within my adaptive cards, we are having like topic, right? We are having category. We are having questions. So we are having different things, right? So what if I want to add the topic that I have it from my SharePoint? What if I want to add like the question that we are having from our SharePoint? So how we can do this? So within here, what you really need to do, you need to copy the link and you need to add from your SharePoint item. So for example here, what you really need to add, we have like at the first one, like who is the person that who create this one. Second, we need to add the topic. Then we need to add the category. So you need to change the value for each one by the one that we have it from the SharePoint. Okay. And similar way for the question, you need to do the same. You need to add the question here. So it's up to you how your card will look like. You just need to replace whatever you are having from the card that you have it and add it here. Then how the message will look like the updated message when you are sending your card to your Teams or to the Microsoft Teams, how your message will look like. So first thing, what I really would like to see within my adaptive cards, like questions with the ID. So the key column that we are having is the ID. Maybe in your scenario, you want to see the name of the person. So it's up to you what you want to add as the main things within your adaptive card. So if we open now Microsoft Teams, and I'm going to show you the question, if we are having this one, I'm going to show it to you later on after we finish from the flow. We will go back to Teams and show you how the question IDs will appear there. And for sure, you need to select the team and the channel. Here we are selecting the team that where we're gonna send the adaptive cards. Then you remember when I mentioned to you that I really need to store the answer. Why? Because we are sending actually an email, and while we are sending an email, we need to send the answer to the user, right? And this is the main thing that why we are storing the answer within our data source. So what we need to do, there is something really cool here. You can update an item. So after sending the adaptive cards and after we are getting the answer from the user that they are answering the question, we need to do something here. We need to update the item, the same item that we have it within the SharePoint. It means our key column here is an ID, right? So what do I need to update? I just need to have an ID number and update the answer. And here we go. But the answer that I need to update it based on the answer that we are getting from the adaptive cards, the one that the person who answered through the adaptive cards. And you need to mention here like output and the name of your adaptive cards, that the one that you have it within your flow. And if you look here, we have a body, data, and my answer. So from where I'm getting this, my answer. Let me show you from where I'm getting this word, my answer. Actually, if I go back to my adaptive cards, what I really look to save the answer, and the answer actually here, it's this one. Let me show it to you. Here we go. This is the part where the user will submit their answer, the one that we have it within the adaptive cards. It means I'm looking for the ID. Maybe here I call it my answer, but maybe in your scenario, you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't mean that you need to use the same word. So you need to copy this one and add it to the code within the updated item, because this is the one that we need to add it to our SharePoint. So that's why when I go to update my item here, I have this one with the name of my answer. It means the one that we have it there. So after we updating the item, now it's the time to send the answer to the user, right? And here we go. You just need to send an email. And after you send an email, what you really need to do, you just need to send to the person that who created the question. And from there, maybe you can make it like just one sentence or whatever you want to add to your body email. But here, actually, I prefer to use HTML. You can add more fancy things. You can make your email much pretty, actually. So that's why I'm using HTML. And there is a lot of tools that will help you to build your email as a HTML and just copy it and paste it. But what I really want to mention here, you need to add something within your email. Either if you are using HTML or only a few texts, you need to add here the answer, the one that we store it within our SharePoint, because this is the one that the user wants to see, which is the main answer. Okay. So then this is our Power Automate, something really easy. if you have, as I mentioned, if you have a lot of category, you can build it or you can be more creative, but I just show you the concept on how we can build a flow to send adaptive cards. So if you look at our example today, we are using Power Apps with like just a form to get the questions from the user, SharePoint list to store our data. We are using a Power Automate to send our adaptive cards that we designed. So a lot of cool stuff together, right? So you just need to think outside of the box and just be creative on how you can automate the task. I know it's something easy, not difficult. And when you see, like when I present, like we are using a different tools, you imagine that something will be really complicated. No, actually, it's something really easy. And when I built this application to my organization, it took for me like 2 days. But you know why it's 2 days? Because at the beginning, I don't have any idea about the adaptive cards. And for me, I don't like to build something before study it or learn more about it. And it's like I spent 1 day to just read more about adaptive cards, the documentation that we have it within Microsoft, and building an application. It was something easy. Power Automate, it was something easy. I just need to think about how I can send it. But I faced a few challenges at the beginning because it was the idea to send the adaptive cards to Outlook, and I faced a challenge like we cannot see the logo within the Outlook desktop. So that's why I said, no, we can send it to Microsoft Teams, and we can be more creative by adding different people together within Teams and use adaptive cards within Teams. So something really easy. If you want, I can share the templates with you, and you can be creative more than this, and you can add your own magic to your Power Automate or adaptive cards. So this is what I have for you today. I hope that you get some information and some things that you will apply to your business or your organization. And thank you so much, team. And if you have any questions, it's the time to ask now. Thank you so much.
Hey, May, we do have a question from Bill about the version support, because adaptive cards has now gone to 1.5. I'm sure I've seen Teams is at 1.4, although I'm just kind of quickly Googling it. Do you have any idea if there's any support coming? I've not heard anything for 1.5.
So actually, I didn't heard, but same challenge that I faced when I built the first one. When I add another, I think here I'm using 1. Something. Let me check the version, but I'm not sure if there is anyone, but any upcoming version. But the one that I'm using here, it's 1.0. I tried before to use, I think 1.2 or something. I get an error, and I was searching why I'm getting an error, but still I'm trying to find a way on why we cannot use any other version. And yeah, hopefully there's a new version or something that we will have it within adaptive cards.
Got it. It's here. So that's the adaptive card partner page, which shows Microsoft Teams at 1.4. I've not tried it, not tested it myself.
Oh, even me.
That's
yeah,
what it says, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna test it this weekend to see maybe it will work. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the major difference is between 1.4 and 1.5. Bill, if you know and want to pop that in the conversation, that would be super useful for everybody listening. But I think that's the only question that came up, unless anybody's got anything and they would like to discuss with May, or pop it in the chat for us so that we can ask that. I mean, it was an awesome presentation, May. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lots of info in here about great demo. Well done. Thank you, May.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, everybody really loved it. That's a really nice demonstration of how all that comes together. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.